All right, the trade war has just intensified within the last hour because Donald Trump went to Truth Social again to raise the stakes after the Ontario Premier Doug Ford raised electricity prices on New York, Minnesota, and Michigan. I'm just going to read to you what Trump wrote on Truth Social. Based on Ontario, Canada placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming into the United States, he puts electricity in quotes. I have instructed my Secretary of Commerce to add an additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada, one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world. This will go into effect tomorrow morning. That's March 12th. Also, Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff of 250% to 390% on various U.S. dairy products, which has long been considered outrageous. I will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what has to be done to alleviate this abusive threat from Canada. Who started the tariffs? And how long have these 250 to 390% tariffs been on U.S. dairy products coming into Canada? And do tariffs actually help Canadians and Americans? Basically, what Canada's saying by putting a tariff on U.S. dairy products coming in is that, hey, we're going to protect our farmers so that they don't have to compete in the world market, which means they don't want Canadians to have lower prices, because when you have a tariff, you're actually eliminating competition, or you're making it more tough for other people to compete with your people, which means they don't have to lower their prices as you're increasing prices basically on things coming into the country. So who suffers? The end user, the consumer suffers. Let's say you're an American. You want lower prices, period. You don't care where the milk and the cheese comes from. If you can get it cheaper, you would rather pay less for the same quality product. Tariffs just make no sense when you're talking about, hey, we're here to protect the American people, or we're here to protect the Canadian people. It's all a lie. It's a protection racket, and the people who benefit are not you and me. It's the oligarchs at the top who are trying to eliminate competition or make it tougher for people to compete in that market. If other egregious long-term tariffs are not likewise dropped by Canada, I will substantially increase on April 2nd the tariffs on cars coming into the U.S., which will essentially permanently shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada. Those cars can easily be made in the USA. Also, Canada pays very little for national security, relying on the United States for military protection. We are subsidizing Canada to the tune of more than $200 billion a year. Why? Yeah, that's a good question. Why would we subsidize protecting Canadians when we are Americans? What other nation is subsidizing us so that we can have protection? This cannot continue. The only thing, why is it happening in the first place? You should have stopped this in your first term, Trump. The only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. This would make all tariffs and everything else totally disappear. Canadians' taxes will be very substantially reduced. They will be more secure, militarily and otherwise, than ever before. There would no longer be a northern border problem, and the greatest and most powerful nation in the world will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And Canada will be a big part of that. The artificial line of separation drawn many years ago will finally disappear, and we will have the safest and most beautiful nation anywhere in the world. Can you imagine how incensed a Canadian would be to read this? That'd be like Russia saying, we're going to have America be part of the Russian Federation now, and we're going to be one beautiful nation. What do you think Americans have to say about that? No, we're not going to be a part of the Russian Federation. What if one day the Canadian Prime Minister got up there on live TV and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make America a part of Canada. America is going to become the 11th province. How do you think that would sit with Americans? Well, let me ask you. You're an American probably. How would that sit with you? Would you like that idea? It's amazing how presumptuous Trump is being here. And your brilliant anthem, O Canada, will continue to play, but now representing a great and powerful state within the greatest nation that the world has ever seen. It's almost like Trump is going out of his way to just put it in the faces of the Canadians. Oh man, you're going to be a part of us. You know what? We're giving you military protections to the tune of $200 billion every single year. We ain't going to do that anymore. If you want that protection, you become the 51st state, guys. We should not be shelling out $200 billion to Canada in the first place. So let me know what you think about this. And let me just show you what Ontario Premier Doug Ford says about this 25% electricity surcharge.
You have suggested that this surcharge could be hiked or potentially that electricity exports to the U.S. could be cut off entirely if there is escalation from this administration. What escalation would precipitate that response from you?
This is one person. It's not the American people. It's not even Republicans that I've talked to, governors or senators or congresswomen and men. Is one person. That's President Trump. Has created this chaos, not just here in Canada and the U.S. and Mexico, but around the world right now. You know, he ran on a mandate to lower inflation, create more jobs, and it's done the total opposite. Inflation's going up. Assembly plants will close if he continues on with these tariffs in the auto sector. People will lose their jobs. Manufacturing will go down, and people will have less money in their pockets. I believe in the.
That's kind of misguided. Yeah, prices going up seem to be inflationary, but true inflation is an increase in a nation's money supply. It's the inflation of a money supply which increases prices. This is something completely different. We've got tariff wars, which isn't exactly inflation because the money supply has basically stayed the same. We haven't done any quantitative easing for a little bit, so this isn't exactly inflation. Yes, prices are going higher because tariffs are being implemented.
AMCAN fortress. Let's create an American-Canadian fortress and have the strongest, wealthiest, most prosperous two countries in the entire world. That's what I believe in.
Have you talked about your own retaliation with incoming Prime Minister Carney? Are you both on the same page on this?
I just got off the phone with him a minute ago, and Prime Minister-elect Carney, extremely bright individual when it comes to finances and other areas of business. I'm going to be sitting down with him this week and having a conversation. But he's right in line with what I believe in across the country. Patriotism is running wild like I've never seen before. And again, it's not against the American people. It's one person. I call it the self-inflicted potential recession. There's one person that will put us in a recession, and that's President Trump.
So you've spoken with the incoming prime minister. Have you had a chance to speak with the president or anyone in this administration since putting into place this surcharge today?
No, I haven't. I spoke to Secretary Lutnick, another bright individual when it comes to finances. And I agree or disagree with President Trump. He's an extremely bright business person. If they can't see this, when the market speaks, I always say when the market speaks, you have to listen. The market is speaking. CEOs are speaking. People are speaking out. Why is he doing?
Well, get rid of the 200 and 300% tariffs that you have on farm products coming into Canada then. If the market is speaking, the market is saying, hey, consumers want lower prices. They want a competitive market, which creates better products and lower prices. So the market is speaking, Doug. Why aren't you listening?
This to his largest customer in the world, Canada. No one buys more products off the U.S. than Canada does, including autos, 400% more than Mexico, 200% more than anywhere in the world. And we buy as many cars as we ship down there. And the ones we ship down there are 50% American-made parts. You can't, I always say that you can't unscramble an egg that's been around since the 1960s, the auto pack. We have to make a larger omelet. That's what we need to do.
All these politicians are lying to us. Trump's lying to us. Doug Ford is lying to us. The Prime Minister of Canada, the new one coming in, is going to lie to us. That's what politicians do. So what do you think is going to be the fallout of this brand new tweet by Trump from Truth Social? What do you think is going to happen? How do you think the Canadians are going to respond? Because I'm telling you, if both of them take a hardline stance and don't come to the bargaining table, we're going to see prices go through the frickin' roof on everything. Remember, on February 1st, Trudeau announced a 25% tariff on $155 billion Canadian, or $107 billion to the U.S. of U.S. goods, rolling out in 2 waves. On February 4th, a 25% tariff on $30 billion worth of U.S. imports, including orange juice, peanut butter, wine, spirits, beer, coffee, appliances, and motorcycles. And then effective on February 25th, there's a 25% tariff on an additional $125 billion, targeting items like passenger vehicles, steel, aluminum, beef, pork. And then there are non-tariff measures like Trudeau hinting at restricting exports of uranium, potash, nickel, and electricity. So we are in for some crazy economic stuff, man. And it looks like Trump is making things worse. And the funny thing is, have you noticed how silent conservative commentators have been on the trade war between Canada and America? Why do you think that is? I might do a little bit more research on that and create another video if you're interested in that. Let me know in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned. We are not taking a left side. We are not taking a right side. We are trying to take the side that looks through the lenses of rationality, principle, and truth. I will see you in the next video.